In the figure below, point T is on line segment JQ. To the nearest centimeter, what is the length of line segment T to S? They want to know this length. I'm going to find out what this length is, T to Q. I'm going to call this angle X. We're trying to figure out for triangle TNQ. Looking at this little triangle, the cosine of X is the adjacent, that's TQ, over the hypotenuse over 980, Q to T. I called it QT. If we look at the larger triangle here, we can also look at the cosine of X, but the cosine of X on this larger triangle, this becomes the hypotenuse, and this is now the adjacent. The cos of X is the adjacent over the hypotenuse again. The adjacent is 980, and the hypotenuse is J to Q. J to Q can be broken down into Q to T and 441. 441 plus Q to T. It's the same X in both cases. You can say that QT over 980 must be equal to 980 over JQ. JQ can be broken down into 441 plus QT. I'm going to cross multiply. That gives me the QT multiplies to 441 and multiplies to QT, giving us 441 times QT plus QT squared is equal to 980 times 980 is 980 squared. That's a quadratic. I'm going to rewrite it. 980 squared is 960,400. I'm just rewriting with the QT squared first, plus 441 times QT, take away the 960,400 is equal to 0. The A coefficient is 1, the B coefficient is 441, the C coefficient is negative 960,400. We plug that into our quadratic formula. That's negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC, all divided by 2A, where B is 441, so we have negative 441 plus or minus the square root of B squared, 441 squared, take away 4 times A is 1, times C times negative 960,400, all divided by 2. That gives us, so we're going to get a negative 1,225, which we're going to discount because you can't have a negative length. We get 784. We remove this one. This is 784. Great. Now we can use cosine of this angle to figure out this length, the Q to S. For triangle QRS, I'm going to say the cosine of 27 is the adjacent over the hypotenuse is QR over QS. I'm going to call this side the adjacent is 532 over the hypotenuse, the QS that we have to figure it out. I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to switch the cos of 27 and the hypotenuse. It gives me that the hypotenuse is equal to 532 divided by cosine of 27. Run that through the calculator. That gives you the hypotenuse has a measurement of 597.0776 centimeters, which I'm going to write right here. Q squared is equal to S squared plus T squared minus 2ST times the cosine of angle Q, which is 78 degrees. So that's going to give us S squared is 784 squared plus T squared is 597.0776 squared. Take away 2 times 784 times 597.0776 times the cosine of 78. Run that through the calculator, you get Q squared is equal to 76,507.0242. Take the square root of that and you have 881.19635, but they are asking us to find it to the nearest centimeters. I'm going to round that to the nearest whole number. The 1 tells this one to stay 1. Q is approximately 881 centimeters. And that's it for question number 1. Have a good day.